Step into the ring, fans. It's main event reports, bringing you all the latest from WWE. Don't forget to subscribe and let's get started. Drew McIntyre is standing at the peak of his resurgence, a Scottish warrior finally getting the cheers he's fought for over years of struggle. But in WWE, the higher you climb, the thinner the air gets. Just when it looked like Drew was untouchable, a storm began brewing in the shadows. A storm led by Solo Sikoa and his reborn bloodline. What looked like another dominant stretch for Drew might actually be the calm before one of the most dangerous chapters of his entire career. Because when you cross the bloodline, you don't just face a rivalry, you face a family bound by legacy and vengeance. The moment everything changed. It all started with one decision, a single Claymore kick that changed the entire balance of power. Last Friday on SmackDown, Drew McIntyre knocked out Jacob Fatu, the Bloodline's powerhouse, in front of the world. It was a bold statement, the kind that only Drew could deliver. But beneath the roar of the crowd, something shifted. Respect was tested, and pride was wounded. In Samoan tradition, honor means everything. And in the world of Solo Sikoa, disrespect isn't ignored, it's remembered. Drew didn't just score a victory, he lit a fuse. Jacob Fatu, the enforcer with royal blood. To understand what's coming, you have to understand who Jacob Fatu is. He's not just another member of the bloodline, he's the enforcer, the immovable cornerstone of Samoan strength. His lineage carries generations of pride, toughness, and dominance that stretch back decades. When Drew McIntyre targeted him, it wasn't simply an attack. It was a challenge to everything the Samoan dynasty represents. That's why the response brewing behind the scenes isn't just about retribution. It's about restoring family honor. Solo Sikoa's new era of the bloodline. This isn't the bloodline of Roman Reigns' reign. This is a darker, leaner, more tactical version led by Solo Sikoa, an enforcer-turned-leader who believes in decisive action over slow strategy. Where Roman ruled through mind games, Solo leads with purpose. He's surrounded himself with warriors who share his philosophy, Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, and the recovering Jacob Fatu. Together they're rebuilding the bloodline not as a faction, but as a movement. They don't want to just dominate. They want to redefine power on SmackDown. Backstage tension boiling over sources within WWE suggest that the fallout from Drew's attack on Jacob Fatu has caused real tension backstage. There's talk of frustration, pride, and professional respect colliding. Some insiders feel Drew's intensity went too far, while others see it as the fire WWE needs right now. Either way, everyone agrees that something big is coming. Production meetings have reportedly grown heated as creative teams discuss just how far this story should go. And when you have that kind of electricity behind the curtain, you know the story inside the ring is about to explode. Triple H's impossible balancing act behind the scenes, Triple H now finds himself in an unenviable position. On one hand, Drew McIntyre is a proven main event talent, one of the locker room's hardest workers, and a cornerstone of WWE's global appeal. On the other hand, the bloodline remains the heartbeat of SmackDown. Merchandise leaders, ratings drivers, and the faction fans can't stop talking about. Balancing both sides means letting the story unfold organically, even if the tension feels dangerously real. It's a tightrope act. Allow the rivalry to escalate enough to feel authentic, but not so far that it risks crossing boundaries. Fans divided and on edge, the WWE universe is split right down the middle. Half the audience cheers for Drew McIntyre, the lone warrior standing against the most dominant family in wrestling. The other half rallies behind the bloodline, respecting their loyalty and unity even when their methods cross the line. That's the beauty of this story. It feels real. Every glance, every promo, every stare down carries an edge that fans can feel in their bones. Social media has become a battlefield of opinions, with speculation about who will strike first and whether this conflict can end without destroying one of WWE's biggest stars. Jacob Fatu's silence speaks volumes. After last week's SmackDown, Jacob Fatu broke his silence on social media with one simple word: patience. That single post sent the wrestling world into a frenzy. It wasn't a threat, it was a promise. The idea that Fatu is waiting, watching, and preparing adds a chilling undertone to the entire feud. He doesn't need to speak in paragraphs. His presence alone says enough. Everyone knows that when he returns, it won't be about revenge. It will be about redemption, restoring pride to his family, and proving why the Bloodline's legacy is untouchable. Why this storyline matters. This rivalry is bigger than just Drew McIntyre versus the Bloodline. It's about legacy versus pride, tradition versus rebellion, unity versus independence. It's the kind of storyline that reminds fans why professional wrestling is more than athletic competition. It's modern mythology. Every punch, every promo, every stare carries history behind it. Drew represents the lone warrior spirit, a man who fights alone because that's all he's ever known. The Bloodline represents the strength of family, of heritage that refuses to fade. When those two forces collide, the result isn't just a match, it's storytelling at its finest. The road ahead for Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre knows what's coming. He's seen what happens when wrestlers cross paths with the Bloodline and underestimate their resolve. But if there's one thing fans know about Drew, it's that he doesn't back down. His journey has always been about resilience, fighting through injury, rejection, and reinvention. He's faced worse odds before, and this might just be another chapter in the saga of his defiance. Still, this time feels different. This time he's facing not just opponents, but an entire legacy built on vengeance. When family and fire collide. As the weeks unfold, this rivalry is expected to dominate headlines and main events alike. The stakes are higher than titles. They're personal, emotional, generational. The Bloodline wants respect. Drew McIntyre wants recognition. Somewhere in between lies the truth about what drives both sides, the desire to be remembered. The next confrontation isn't just about retribution, it's about evolution. Whoever survives it won't just win a feud, they'll define the next era of WWE storytelling. The countdown to chaos. Every show, every entrance, every match feels like a ticking clock counting down to the inevitable. When Solo Sikoa finally gives the signal, it will mark a defining moment for this generation of WWE fans. But until then, the tension itself has become part of the spectacle. It's that uncertainty, the not knowing, that keeps everyone watching. Drew McIntyre's fate isn't sealed yet, but the writing on the wall is clear. He's entered a battlefield where family, loyalty, and pride weigh more than championships. Final thoughts. No matter which side fans choose, one thing is undeniable. This feud represents WWE at its absolute best. Emotional storytelling, cultural depth, and the raw unpredictability that makes every segment must-see. Whether Drew McIntyre falls or fights his way to glory, this rivalry will leave its mark on the industry. The Bloodline has never been more dangerous, and Drew has never been more determined. The collision of those truths is what creates legends. The countdown has begun, not to destruction, but to history being made inside that ring.